Welcome back. We are heading into game 3 of Team Dignitas versus Counter Logic Gaming. And if you remember last game, Altec kind of went off.
I remember. I was there. You were there too.
I was there too.
He did not die.
It was amazing. A lot of help from the bot lane as well. The taster's choice down there in that bot lane is doing great.
It seemed
right
like
now.
whenever the camera went down there, Adrian was landing a hook, and they were getting a kill. Altec, as I said, he didn't die. 9-0 and 8 on Tristana that time around. Yes, he was set up by Adrian, but he played the late game so well and very aggressively. We saw him flash into Huhi for a 1-versus-1 kill in the mid game. You know, he got a good lead out of lane phase, but then he took over the game as they transitioned through. 637 damage per minute as at Tristana. And, you know, highest damage in the game kind of goes without saying at that point.
Keep yourself, not that he had to be tempered at all, but he also kept himself in good situations. Dignitas wasn't just making that Baron happen. They walked away from it quite a few times, knowing CLG could get away back in. So much more being measured in those situations than saying, hey, we started it, we have to do it.
And being measured is super important here when you're considering game number 3s. This is a crucial game 3 to break the series. CLG, their game record is currently, or not game record, match record is currently 11-5, and Team Dignitas 10-6. So it's separated by a single match. And this is going to be, you know, the one to see who's going to get that leg up in the playoff race. Will it be CLG or Team Dignitas? Team Dignitas did come off that win, so maybe they are a little bit more hyped up because their win was more recent, but CLG's win was just as dominating in game number 1 if they're able to reset and refocus.
It's crazy when the ending fashion of each game is so similar between the way the teams just kind of shellacked each other, if you will.
Shellackings for everybody.
Shellacking here. Level 3. No. Ban 3 in phase 1. I don't know where level came from. But Cassiopeia is going to be locked out. They did that the first game against Keane, but they take the Orianna away along with the other 2 mid laners this time for Huhi.
All right, it's going to be the Kalista here for Altec. A couple of Tristana games for himself, but now jumps immediately onto the Kalista. She was banned in the last game. CLG have that option, of course, of picking the Tristana into the Kalista, which is one of the most common counter picks. Everybody always likes to talk about the trades and the explosive shot going on and a little bit quicker there, but the immediate focus here for CLG is get Huhi back on roaming. And remember in the last game, he did actually answer a kill in the bottom lane and got one back for CLG on the Taliyah by roaming there. You know, that wasn't enough though, and it wasn't, you know, a big enough part of the game. We'll see if they can do it this time around. OmarGod back on his, you know, comfort of Gragas. Probably could technically be Darshan as well.
Oh. Dignitas, 0 hesitation. Those are already locked in. Counter Logic Gaming so far color coding the champion picks. Where's the next one?
Syndra definitely is a fairly common pick into Taliyah anyway, and Keane, as we said, been discussing before, has been playing a lot of Syndra recently. We shall see if he's able to keep enough pressure on the mid lane to keep Huhi from affecting the side lanes. Bottom lane definitely will be playable, you know, is definitely one that you can play around with a Kalista lane in a similar fashion. Since they have the Jarvan again, it could be that level 2 Jarvan, but I think that they'll give it a bit more respect this time around.
I figure aphromoo might take the Morgana.
Definitely,
it
definitely is a possibility. And again, we return to the discussion of playmaking, the power of playmaking. We saw it from Adrian last time around. They snowball super effectively with the Thresh, you know, constantly going all in with the Ignite in the bottom side. But then on the other half of the scale is these Ardent Sensor rushing shielding champions. And CLG seem to have been more on the shielding side. We'll see if that does change. You know, it's hard to, you know, Kalista, when you're facing Kalista, go with the big playmaking advantage, but we shall see. Tristana is finally locked in, as you talked about in the first rounds, and something to go along and complement that would be fairly effective.
See that Thresh still could go in on the side. As I said though, aphromoo not having too many of those Thresh plays. They could have the Blitzcrank here. Very interesting in that situation if they were able to yank that Syndra out.
Blitzcrank.
Cho'Gath, huh? Interesting. Right.
Cho'Gath, yeah, Cho'Gath did get nerfs on 715, but still quite decent. I still think the nerfs were not that big for him, and we, might see him still in pro play. Not this time around, though.
Who do they leave for last? Darshan usually getting that pick. It was a Shen first game around for himself. You see that Shen was banned the last game by them. That's actually the Alistar they go for on this one, putting himself in the front of the fight. Wants to try and absorb that ulti if he can as well.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to daring him to go with the Thresh again. He's like, all right, you got me got me last game here, but try it again. He's taking the Alistar. Adrian answers with Taric. Huge team fighting presence from Taric.
Wow.
We cannot stress this enough. The ultimate is insane for the team fights that the game turns into this, in this meta, and also versus Alistar, melee versus melee matchups where we usually see him.
Seen a lot of that from Ssumday lately on Cloud9, the little Taric play. And Ssumday picks up the Renekton to lock this in. Will not be the Nasus back on the blue side.
I like especially the counter engages from Taric that are possible. So you have to be very, careful when you are engaging on this champion, whether it's a skirmish or a full-on team fight. So that might give a little hesitation to the bottom lane, whether they want to go all in and try and use that Tristana Alistar combo. I think we'll probably only see that if they do have jungler support, because Taric can buy such a large amount of time if you engage onto him due to the extra armor, the healing, the stuns, and
he creates an incredibly chaotic fight. I feel like there's still so many levels of Taric that haven't been reached. And while some people are probably saying, yeah, you have Bastion and you'll have a direction of Dazzle to fight your own fight, usually we see kind of the same target getting hit with that Dazzle. It hasn't been separated. So I feel like there's so much that can be done.
All right, we do see the final pickup here for CLG, though, the Gnar for Darshan in the top side. See if he can get to a couple items there. Annoy Ssumday with the boomerang and the ranged harass. But early game, definitely have my eyes on Team Dignitas.
Altec now on the Kalista, can still do some of the early game damage. He was on the Trist last time. It's just about getting the kills if you're going to go off early. Zix and Cop shake hands, head off to the back. Game 3 here. Week 9 is not letting us down. Hashtag Dignitas win, hashtag CLG win. Can Team Dignitas tie themselves up with Chronologic Gaming in the standings, or will CLG pull away? There it is again, Kobe, get it. Get it. All right, hopping into the rift. The fans are ready, and the crowd is ready. Let's see what these two teams have for each other here as they are pushing each other to the limit. Pushing to the limit. Sorry, I had to.
Don't apologize.
There was time.
Woo. The crowd can feel it. This is game 3. Incredibly important here for both squads.
What do you need in game 3? More cowbell. We got, look at, they all got their onesies on. What a squad. Slumber Party CLG. Oh, Adrian playing sentry. Looks like he'll be safe here to just walk out of this, but CLG should get the wards in that they want.
30 seconds to minions spawn.
Get him! Get him! All right, maybe Darshan is going for a similar thing here. It looks like CLG are feeling aggressive. Chasing off Dig. Ssumday did get down that Raptor ward. As you can see, his trinket's on cooldown, though. And answers a little back in the trade there.
Huhi is just not late to these, but every fight that might happen, he's just on the edge. Him and Darshan would have won that. Could have helped bot side here with Adrian. We'll see how he does to start things off. He seems antsy.
Yeah.
Those kills.
They do have vision on the Raptors, and they're probably going to go in for, delayed invade here. They will see that, or be able to deduce at least, that Shrimp is starting on that top side on blue buff. Meanwhile, Team Dignitas know for sure that Omar is starting on Raptors. And he's starting with Raptors with no pull for the Gragas, so a little bit slower there. It doesn't matter at all, really, in terms of health, because Gragas with his passive is really no problems in that area. But it does delay it a little bit, so having a more accurate timer here. Dignitas for tracking Omar.
dazzled up onto Stixxay as they throw one javelin through him. Block him down real quick. aphromoo on the coin himself. A lot more supports running that. I actually love it. Yeah, Adrian was running it last game on the Thresh, which also used to run the Relic.
Get rich quick scheme.
Get rich, but the mana to keep throwing hooks in lane and make plays. Those mana coins are so awesome. So beautiful. He'll be running with that. Got that Relic shield over on Adrian, so we'll see if he steps forward. He's going for the dazzles anyway, so it puts himself in a good spot to also get those stacks. Shrimp on red. Looks like he's on a pretty good clip through his jungle here as he did wolves. Yep.
So, oftentimes Jarvan, you only do 3 camps. He doesn't really have defenses with, you know, the nerfs to his armor to be able to do more than 3 standard camps, unless you go with some very defensive runes, in which case on almost anybody you can do more. But one of the things is you always expect Jarvan to go for a Scuttle Crab pretty early on to get more health back, and then it allows you to return to jungling. So Shrimp there, he uses the Blast Cone to get in there quickly to take down the Scuttle, and he saves his flag and drag that way, so if someone's there contesting it, then he doesn't have to commit, and he is fairly low, so doesn't want to get caught out there. He gets a Scuttle Crab life though, gets right back to jungling. Meanwhile, Omar, power clear here, very standard stuff from Gragas. He'll end up on the bottom side, but there's a lot of wards over bottom side, protecting Dig, even though they're extended. Let's take a little journey here, a vision journey, if you will.
There was just a ping on the red side for OmarGod. I wonder if they're considering that he might be there. Shrimp says, I'll ward for you, just in case. Make sure they actually have good warding all over. We saw that bot side, now top.
Good trade.
One more hit.
For Renekton, it's not random when he goes in for trades, by the way. It's pretty clear for both people, actually, because of the rage bar that he's building up. That's why his trade was so good. Get the extra damage. Mid lane, though!
The 1-2, is there a 3? Scattered backwards, and Keane saves himself with just a flash for OmarGod.
Yeah, let me check on the combo here for the seismic shove. He was able to flash out before the shove comboed with the body slam there, so I believe that you can usually get it if you do it immediately. So maybe split-second timing there allows Keane to flash out. Or if you don't even want to risk it and you're sure the enemy jungler's not there for a counter, you can just wait on the seismic shove because you know that he'll be slowed after due to the Gragas barrel. And you don't immediately have to use its combo.
Oh, yank it out. Didn't have the range to do so. If you actually have a minion close to you that you can rend, it lengthens your explosion range. So if you had a minion in between him and Alpha, could have did a bit of damage.
Could have did a bit of.
Could have did a bit of. But he didn't. Could have, would have, should have. 7.4 to 7.1. And not too much of a change here. As everything's calm on the home front to start things off. Very early from Shrimp in game 2. And very early stuff topside by OmarGod and Darshan in game 1. Here, a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, they do want to punish this flash that's down. Not going to be the case, though. Keane gets out, goes back to base. He's going to need some vision. Whenever your mid laner's flash is blown like that, too, I make it a high priority as a jungler to get vision around one side of mid lane immediately so that they can at least hug that side of the lane. And you know that there's going to be repeat ganks, right? So it buys you a little time, at least, if they have one side of the lane that they can hover to. Especially when you're facing a Gragas, it's always a possibility that he gets right back there, and then your mid laner starts crying, because where's my ganks?
It's like he actually chooses boots for himself. Very safe start for Huhi in the early game. Make sure he gets these roams on to get to the other lanes. Get those kills in if he needs it.
And see, that vision pays off. It was an early upgrade of the Tracker's Knife for Shrimp, and he had the vision on the bottom side, which saw OmarGod going for this invade. Yes, CLG do want to punish the flash, and they're bringing multiple roams, but vision saves lives.
It's a great little play, too. They know Keane's flash is down. If they get in too much of a hectic fight, he can't help. So why not smother that area with Members and see if you can get something in your favor. That fizzles out, though. Not too much time wasted by CLG. It's been Stixxay farming on the bot side to a pushed lane. Altec backs for what is a Cutlass and a little attack speed. before we get Adrian's full vision. He's just sitting on a ruby right now.
Yeah, Altec and Adrian are doing such a good job in the bottom lane, earning that CS lead for themselves, and they've been able to keep up pressure on Stixxay and aphromoo, keeping them down, and this kind of dissuading them and dissuading CLG from trying to go for any of those all-ins. If you, especially, are able to buy that time to get the level 6s to come in, Taric Kalista is so safe at this point. CLG want to try and push it before that point, though. They're roaming down from mid lane, bringing jungle pressure as well.
Assist call from Huhi. He says we can route Keane as he comes down. aphromoo joins the party. It looks like they have something of their own in mind. Shrimp's not going to activate on this, though. He gets himself in a position where he might be able to help. There's the hit. There's the shove you were looking for. Kobe. Keane goes down. First blood for Chronologic Gaming.
Yep, immediate combo of the shove cast right after aphromoo flashes for that. So that was much more coordinated, basically, than the first attempt that CLG made. And kind of plays off the success there. They got it in time before the flash came back off cooldown. Awarded that first blood, which they kind of needed as the bottom lane. It's not kills and a tremendous lead for Altec and Adrian, but they are almost level 6, and you have to worry about those all-ins.
OmarGod making quick use of the jungle as we see this one more time.
Yeah, look at the timing here. Afro flashes for it while he's still in the air coming down. Huhi also flashes for it to make sure that this time able to get off the segment shove before CC runs out, and Keane has no options.
That's crazy. There's like 4 levels of crowd control just to that gank.
Remember though, you always need to track the cooldowns of your offensively burned flashes. Sometimes people are like, yeah, we killed him! And they're all hyped up after their kill. But hey, I just burned my flash in mid lane, my jungler just burned his flash, my support just burned his flash or whatever.
That dragon fight doesn't look so good anymore.
You gotta think about that for, opponent ganks or dragon fights, so.
Be careful. See if they can get the wards up to stave off that 5 minutes of uh-oh. With their flashes being down. Maybe a dazzle start here. Jump out of Stixxay. Decide to go for Afro Band.
Blue invade as well due to the pressure that Keane was able to come back out with. And they're actually going to be able to pull it off, it looks like. Smite fight. Omar's not up. Oh, it's a Syndra. You don't even get to fight.
Thank you, man.
No fair. Who took away my blue buff? I was playing with that.
Keane back. Or sorry, Huhi back. You can see how much he really would have liked to have that blue buff. Already down below half. It's going to get 2 waves here to his turret, basically.
Taliyah with an early blue buff, it's not just the mana that is so clear, but the cooldown reduction also.
Yeah.
Just waves are so easy for her to clear, and that's where Taliyah gets so much of her power in the mid game, is clearing out the wave instantly and then roaming. You can see now he's already running into a little bit of mana problems.
Yep.
I mean, he wants to spam his Qs, but blue buff denial is so big, and that's why it doesn't even matter that Keane did not get the blue buff. The goal for Team Dignitas there is make sure Huhi doesn't get his blue buff, and that's what they accomplished.
There's the 6 though. aphromoo and Stixxay hit it. OmarGod just on the edge. Explosive cask is there. I don't know if they wanted it. And Fate's Call says, no, thank you.
All right, so that is a big ult for a possible force around Drake for CLG here. Now, they can just rotate over and try and take that objective, but they also have to remember the Syndra continually has lane priority. So even though they make this play on bottom lane, they get the ultimate out of Altec, it's still very risky for CLG.
Looking at the buys around, Sightstones come out for both supports.
Well, they're actually making a rotation here. CLG are sending the duo topside. Maybe they're going to try and overload top turret and get the first turret bonus. With Tristana, that's definitely possible. And a red buff on their jungler as well. That helps with killing turrets.
Stixxay just grabbing the Zerg Greaves. He gets the lane a little faster with that attack speed now. And a setup here from aphromoo.
If Ssumday goes aggressive at the wrong time here, it might even be a kill. So
he is stacked up on his rage bar.
Yeah, Darshan's trying to bait him right now.
I think he knows. He's like, you haven't played like this at all in lane. What's different?
Yeah.
What is different? Nice damage, putting Huhi down to half.
Oh, they're trying to bait him so hard. He's not taking the bait, though.
Ooh, Darshan with an instant swipe back. Ssumday left, Ssumday right, Ssumday down. That took quite a bit from CLG, but they make it happen.
They force feed that bait into his mouth. They're like, all right, you're not taking it. Boom, Darshan is in there, and CLG combo again. This is another flash blown, but well worth it. OmarGod gets in there, they get a kill, plus they're gonna power down this turret. I think even though the bottom lane of Team Dignitas is going to answer, it's gonna be way after. So CLG do get the first turret bonus. And some proactive plays there for them earn top side pressure.
How far are they going, too? They have OmarGod in the jungle, still Tristana on that top side, and they can go for another turret here.
They could go for a turret, or they could rotate down to the Drake, so they don't even, wouldn't give that up. They are burning through the turret with the Tristana, but, Drake is still on the map and definitely available. Now they want to give Huhi this blue buff as well.
If they see aphromoo, they'll probably take that Drake after their turret as well for Team Dignitas. That is, do CLG stop seeing Dig on the bot? It's kind of hard this early in the game getting this far pushed up. Things can go very wrong.
Yeah, they do have the blue buff on Huhi, and maybe they
They're not going to stop
towards mid lane, but they have Tristana. They don't have to stop.
Why not? 13 minutes in, we're getting onto the inhibs. Obviously, this is going to have to call Dignitas back. There's no way they have the damage to follow up, but this is what I meant about leaving this situation. A lot of people still sitting on boots 1. Chasing out of base now comes Dignitas. Cosmic Radiance. Save a little bit of HP if there was a re-engage, but OmarGod goes down.
Yeah, we can't be 100% sure if that was, OmarGod being a bit too ramped up here for the split push race, or if it was a team call.
For sure.
To keep in there and burn it, but it definitely was risky by either team or himself, and he is hugely punished for it because Team Dignitas, they used that time to recall, and now they're going to get one back here as far as the objective trades. Push down an extra turret. CLG are trying to make their way back to defend, but with the flag bonus attack speed from Jarvan, it's going down pretty quickly.
They see aphromoo coming up as well. They can assert themselves if it even has to be engaged on.
Oh, they're walling him in. Teleport comes through.
He flies off just a
no
little
Syndra,
bit short.
4v5.
That roam's going to take a while. Shrimp gets himself to a position so he can re-enter into the fight. Exhaust onto Huhi very quick. He puts down the barrier to save himself as he flashes out. aphromoo now very low. Eyes on Darshan as he's trying to flip through the fight, but stay alive. He's half bar. Here now comes Keane. Drops the double kill. That's going to now be onto OmarGod. Is it a triple coming in? I think Altec's going to pick that up, but no. It's Ssumday, because Darshan was going down eventually. 4-3 now. Stixxay gets himself jumped out, but Ssumday now into the fight. Very quickly shoved back. What a turn from Huhi. The moment he needed to shove Ssumday back, he turns the tide of the fight.
He's got flash!
Stixxay now there with the run, and I don't think Omar had boots. Oh, I'm sorry, Shrimp had boots. He does, though. That would have been a chase that was futile. And what a fight back and forth. The analyst desk said third game might be neck and neck, and that's what we're getting. Yeah,
even though it's Tristana, and everyone's like, oh, Tristana last game with a bunch of kills, kind of went off. It's always such a risk versus reward if you're going to use your flash for a single kill. And that's what the case would have been for Stixxay there, so he doesn't chase it. Here, though, let's take another look. Now, technically, OmarGod was also further away from this, so he wasn't there at the beginning, and it was largely a 4 versus 4 for the beginning of it. The big difference is that Darshan came into this fight, but he was a mini Gnar. He never got to go mega in the whole fight, and that's why Dig got to, win this one and destroy the front line. My goodness, I was so close to taking out Shrimp there as well. And the overchase here requires some good timing from CLG. Stixxay barely got out of that damage. And then a very nice shove from Huhi, and the combo there to get the 2 kills turns it back around for CLG, even though Team Dignitas did get the objective in the first place.
Take a stock of who got rich in that one. Huhi there at the end of that fight, you can see obliterating.
This guy's been huge for this team, this split. See what he can do this time around. A couple kills there into Taliyah can be eventful, but we might have the Drake as our next site of a confrontation here.
Seems like he almost thrives in those situations. The roam in the early game are, pretty good for Huhi, but the shockwaves we've seen in this game, the tight situations where something has to happen versus 1 to 3 people, and he seems to be able to make that that top decision making most of the time. Helping the team out 2-0-2 so far. He did say coming into this game with the back and forth that the sub was showing here this late into the season, they would have to have somebody step up to get that good position towards the playoffs. Right now, Huhi doing that along with the rest of the team behind him, as it is a team effort. Rift Herald's going to be grabbed here 17 minutes in. Looks like they
by who though?
Yeah, but slowly get pushed off. Nice job by Adrian.
Now it's low.
Team comes up slow.
Thank you very much, says Team Dignitas. They will take that objective. And CLG will trade it for the Drake. So Cloud Drake there for Rift Herald, and Shrimp will have his hands full with the Rift Herald activation duties.
See, Black Cleaver actually awarded for Ssumday as well. Darshan won't have too much fun with that.
Whoa!
OmarGod split the uprights, throws out the casket. It only puts Keane in a position to fight back. They get their turret out. He does get that flash down, so we'll have to be careful of an engage onto OmarGod if he's up front.
A bit of a fumble there as he uses his flash, which is a fairly big late game cooldown, and mid game playmaking is huge if Gragas does have that. Not going to be the case, so we might see some enhanced Kalista kiting now, and that's definitely scary. Mid game, you always have to talk about Kalista's 2-item power spike. Once the Hurricane comes in as well, you know, he's already level 11. It becomes difficult to deal with the lifesteal of the champion, especially in these prolonged mid-game team fights.
Darshan, 15% on that bar. Going up quick, though, as he's able to get a few boomerangs in from the side. That deters Dignitas from going any closer with their Rift Herald. It looks like CLG's happy to farm this up. They know Team Dignitas not going any farther, and Stixxay is going to be able to just soft push this top side to make sure he's safe.
Yeah, they've got a Tristana scaling up, you know, about to get into some of the crit multipliers for himself. Meanwhile, Darshan on the Gnar also, 2 items is extremely good. He can go with the Frozen Mallet for more chase on Ssumday and more control in the 1v1 scenario. That plus the Black Cleaver is an intense amount of mobility.
See what these items matching up for the mid laners are. Banshee's Veil for Huhi, so he can deny something. Make sure he's in the right position for these fights. He doesn't have too much mana. CLG has to be a little careful how far they get themselves into trouble here. Oof. Darshan feeling confident though. Do his own little damage to the bot side.
Yeah, if he has his completed Frozen Mallet, then that next time becomes way more dangerous for Ssumday. You saw the amount of damage that could come out, but another round of trades there from Darshan would have been it!
Whoa. There's a headbutt, but the scatter came in. Keane flashes it. He crossed it to the right. What an amazing fake by Keane.
Stixxay, he did use an early Tristana ultimate to knock back Keane.
Right.
Keane had the heal, and I don't think he was expecting the extra health. It still was a pretty early buster shot there from Stixxay, though, and did aid Keane in letting him get out.
Holy macaroni. Those last few clicks to the right.
I believe it was that and not...
No, everything worked in his favor there.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for CLG. He lives with a sliver of health.
Maybe
Use Ignite, Flash. It's not too much. Keane has to be careful, though. We said what happens for flashes being down. I'm sure Keane on the end of that may be worse for the wear with that flash and heal down. Should be, I should say. Quite known. Now towards the top, Altec feels like he can start to maybe solo out some situations, or at least get away from a scary one. He is still waiting for his support to get any more further towards the top side.
Okay. Mid laner with no flash, that's a target. Support with no flash, that's also a target.
Support with no ult feels pretty good. Cosmic Radiance as well. He says, you can go pretty tanky, we can go invulnerable. Dignitas coming out with a kill.
Those offensively used flashes can be punished just as heavily as the defensively used ones.
I get that reference.
Meanwhile, Team Dig, they have a Kalista, so Baron is always on the table. What a trade. Ultimate there, down from Syndra. Keane!
Merc Treads, Banshee's Veil, and the lot. Huhi means he's staying for the long haul.
That's the worst time because they had just started Baron. Darshan actually was moving up on Gnar to try and cut them off as well, but CLG tell him to cut off, and they're actually just going to push on mid lane instead.
So Keane being down, both flashless members of the last engage fall prey to those. And now looks like they'll have a minion wave slowly pushing up with aphromoo in just a second.
All right, they are able to punish both the flashless support and the flashless mid laner. Now, though, CLG have Afro back out on the field. Red buff on Darshan as well. This turret is under tremendous threat.
Shrimp on the front, trying to taunt with a possible flag and drag. They hit up Ssumday. Doesn't feel good when the tank is actually engaged on. And you still have to turn around. Adrian should be safe in this situation as CLG already started to pull back after OmarGod's cast to disengage. See what the chase is. Dignitas says, where are you going? We'll use this time for your backing to gain a bit of ground. Where does this ground take Team Dignitas, though?
Well, while Baron is an area that you always, kind of want some vision control around, the Mountain Drake is probably the bigger setup here. I mean, unless you get a pick off and some kills, you probably are not starting off this Baron. So a Mountain Drake allows you to have much more of that Baron threat, and we may see this little 5-on-5 party transition over to that Drake area. Huhi's on the top side, but his ult's coming up quickly, so CLG might have him rotate down. It might be too late, though. It's a Kalista on Team Dignitas, and that Drake is so easy to secure.
Fate's call. Topside Huhi's looking to create a wall as well if they can get down here. He has put it to the right side of Dignitas. And it looks like he just wanted to get to the fight. That is already goal side to the CLG base, so he does not have to change positioning. Those fights get really weird when somebody's in one side of the river and the other. Now they've evened out to both sides of the rift, and they can get themselves either to safety or to that engage.
Both teams trying to engage from the same bush.
There's the first engage. Wow, very early Cosmic Radiance with 0 dazzle effect coming out. This could mean CLG pulls the trigger. Darshan very close to getting his ultimate in. He flashes forward, sweeps Dignitas into the wall. Keane lives for about 0.5 seconds before going down. Shrimp's gonna be the next one. CLG has been waiting for this fight and absolutely light the fuse.
OmarGod gets the one that counts. The last couple of casts have been an afterthought, but this one hits the flash, hits the combo, and CLG are gonna take down an inhibitor afterwards.
Quickly moving forward and having the Tristana on their side. Turrets become a little bit quicker. Now they make their way out. Darshan's actually on the Baron already. 12 seconds to the first member, and that's about 20 seconds to walk out.
Will Dignitas trail here? CLG are actually setting up for a kill, expecting a check.
Bot lane.
Kalista on the left, but CLG don't have vision of him.
Oh, Ssumday over the wall, possibly looking for the slice and dice. Now he's got it through aphromoo, but he holds for now, and he gets locked up by the aphromoo. Alistar passes, beautifully done. And they lock it down with Huhi's kill as well. 306, 305 for Huhi and Stixxay right now. Gotta be feeling pretty good.
Oh, another one!
Remember, Cosmic Radiance used in the last fight. aphromoo brings himself to the party, knows exactly where the destination is, and puts himself onto Altec, giving CLG a few more kills.
Oh, and
that was pretty.
Another. aphromoo doesn't go for the support. Well aware of the Kalista ult. Altec was trying to get close enough to be in range of Kalista ult, but aphromoo makes a beeline straight for him and gets him upon arrival.
7,000 gold lead. Very quickly built up here by Logic Gaming. Baron in their hands just 25 minutes in. And they're looking for another sub 30 if they can make their way in the face.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of work done by minions on the bot side, but let's see this again.
CLG rewarded so much for waiting out on Summoner's Rift by Baron for the Baron bait, where multiple members of Team Dignitas go by themselves thinking that CLG keep going over to the Baron area because they don't have vision, and they just got killed, but CLG not going for it. They get another kill, then they get another pick here, and it actually baits in Altec to get close enough. You saw there, aphromoo flashes on him, gets the extra kill, and now they finally have the Baron plus Mountain Drake.
It wasn't even an afterthought either. aphromoo ran straight past his team. It's awesome to see when the players have that in mind a few steps ahead. Drake going down to OmarGod. CLG in control of basically everything on the map. that's not behind Team Dignitas' base wall.
Yes, they have a 3-item Tristana here. Rapid fire completed, as well as Gnar almost even to the Gargoyle Stone Plate. He went right past this Frozen Mallet completion, and he's almost even to his 3rd item. That is a huge boost for your team fighting. I don't know if Omar's going to get picked off here or what, but okay. You get a little worried there when you're left in the dark for a while. You get a little taste of what it's like to be on the stage.
You always wonder, is somebody there? Yes, consider that they are. Ssumday slowly whacking away at the minions baroned up, though they aren't dying too quick, as Darshan is making sure he gives him a hell of a time. Mid lane, you can see just about halfway on that inhibitor. It's being lit back up as it goes around the bottom side. So Dignitas have a bit of time here to protect the rest of their turrets. They got to get with those super minions in mid lane.
Yeah, and the time is running out. CLG are coming with Baron-empowered minions. There's the Taliyah wall.
Nicely charged up first by Stixxay, gets himself into a good spot. Cosmic Radiance and the Dazzle trying to flash forward as the Bastion was on Adrian. Altec getting to fire from behind the fight. Ssumday getting low, Shrimp as well, as they try to get this fight back on. Adrian and Keane low on the backside here. CLG doing a great job at just completely separating Dignitas. No members of Dignitas stand next to each other in this fight as CLG picks them apart.
And that is going to be the series with Baron buff. A 4-kill for CLG is going to be it.
16-5, another sub 30-minute game, keeping it consistent all the way through. Counter Logic Gaming will not be caught by Team Dignitas in the standings. They are going to ask for more cowbell, and they are going to go ahead and move up to 12 wins.
Pajama party at 28 minutes there for Counter Logic Gaming. Whew. Seeing aphromoo back on, Alistar or these playmaking supports is just, it kind of brings back a lot of those memories.
Yeah.
Of the old school CLG. Instant engages, very intelligent play from them this time around, and decent snowballing. Remember, it started out with the call to swap their duo lane up top, get that kill onto Ssumday and first turret bonus gold.
Very, very happy. The Smithy family giving the high fives to Darshan and the rest, as obviously the camaraderie is always still there between those players. A great game by Counter Logic Gaming coming up very strong. Another hug for aphromoo. Great play on that support all the way through. Adrian as well, showing that those two had to go punch for punch in the bottom lane throughout this game. Awesome to watch from Altec, Adrian, and Stixxay and aphromoo.
It really is, and the way that this series went, it was so fun to watch because it showed how each team can really exploit their strengths. When they got the early leads, neither of them ran into many pitfalls. That's why so many all of these games ended before 30 minutes. They used their advantages so well.
Also looking at how they played the picks and bans, kind of trying to come out with maybe we'll swap a Gragas, maybe we'll take the Jarvan. Played out. Dignitas takes the Nasus the first time. We heard Darshan saying, hey guys, playing against this Nasus, this is what we do. Dignitas says, we don't like that. They take the Orion the next game, and they kind of bring out their whole thing with Altec going crazy. It's like so many stars showed up in this game for both teams. It is still promising, even though there has to be a loss for these teams moving forward towards the playoffs.
Definitely exciting. I mean, this year's playoffs might be the most anticipated that we have had.
I can't wait.
Actually, ever. Because every single one is going to be, that close.
We also got teams like Envy moving up here that we've seen. But for Counter Logic Gaming, finding structure with Omar is what they need in these wins. Knowing that has been tough for them to have somebody come in this late. It's been tough for all the teams to figure out which subs are going to work. Dignitas having that run as well, finding success here. This is when it needs to start happening because the buy is already in that front for Immortals. They're feeling pretty good. But really, who's going to beat them coming up?
And who's going to have to play them? With a win here, CLG could put some more distance between them and that possibility.
Absolutely. So now for a first-hand account on that series, let's hear from Digon and the CLG mid laner.
All right. Hey, thank you, Riv. Great cast on the day. I'm here with Huhi. So, Huhi, that was one heck of a series. First game, really easy win. Second game, very tough loss. And then this one was very close for such a long time. Talk me through it.
Yeah, like going into this match, we were pretty confident. Our mindset is let's be confident. We were going to play like all the teams that we were going to play in regular split. like Dignitas and TSM in the playoffs. So we want to have like the alpha mentality kind of. So, but like game 1, it was clean. And game 2, I think we kind of misstep on the pick and bans, and we tried to figure out as a team on the game 2 post game. And I think we did a good job on figuring it out. So I'm pretty happy about it.
So Dignitas is a playoff team for sure. This is a potential playoff matchup. Was there anything you were hiding? Were you guys worried about showing any strats?
I mean, just to make them scared, I want to say yeah. And yeah.
All right, so this whole season, you've been a linchpin in CLG's success, but I feel like a lot of people haven't been talking about you. You've been kind of flying under the radar. Does that bother you?
Not really, as long as I'm not getting flamed anymore. So I'm already happy about that. But yeah, I mean, I'm just really happy that my team are working really well with me now, and I can show you guys on stage. And I just want to keep improving on that.
Well, you improved well here. If you play like you did today, I'm sure there won't be too many flames, except from TSM fans, because El Clasico is your next match, the final match of the split. What are your thoughts going into that final game?
Like I said in the beginning, we are having a alpha mentality, so we obviously are pretty confident going into TSM match, and we want to show that I guess we deserve to be like one of the contenders in NA LCS Championship.
Well, you beat TSM, you definitely are. Thank you so much for the interview, Huhi. With that, we're going to go ahead and send it over to the analyst.
Thank you very much, Digon. A very humble interview out of Huhi after a 2-1 victory over Dignitas. And we cannot ignore his performance for this team throughout the split. It was kind of hit on there. You know, we're always so focused, again, on the Danish mid laners and numbers that they put up kind of make everyone else pale in comparison. It's true. But Huhi very specifically, at least in this series and throughout the split, has been a top performer for CLG.
Exactly, and he's overcome a lot of adversity. If we look really big picture, all the way back to when they were in MSI a year and a half ago, everyone was like, man, imagine how good CLG would be without Huhi. Well, now it's like, imagine how good Huhi is.
Right.
Because he's been performing at a high level for a while.
Very much so, and that just tees up a very exciting mid lane matchup to come later in the week against Bjergsen, as was mentioned, the El Clasico. But hey, let's break down this matchup because CLG comes out on top here in Game 3. We heard from Huhi that he feels they made a misstep in picks and bans, very specifically in Game 2. They talked about it, made the proper adjustments, and here we are in Game 3. And to me, this is like the quintessential CLG composition.
I think this is the misstep they were talking about. The Trist, right? Because Altec went off in that game, and this time they actually had a very strong 80 carry performance from the Trist in the team fights. And the way they just brute forced their ganks around the map got them close enough so they could execute in team fights.
Yeah, I mean, really dedicating a lot of resources to every move that they made, either 3 or 4 people showing up in a lane. But yeah, we asked for a close Game 3. We did get a pretty close Game 3. It was it was still a quick Game 3, but we got a close one, and it really it resulted in a bunch of skirmishy team fights where one team's coming out slightly ahead, and they traded back, vice versa, all sorts of ways.
This was an awesome fight. So you can see Huhi coming in from the backside, and Team Dignitas wants to brawl right here. So watch specifically the things Huhi can do in this fight. He absorbs so much at the start of it, still flashes out, and then gets a 3-man seismic shove onto Team Dignitas right there. That's a lot of damage in a fight that they were pretty much losing because Team Dignitas turned around a lot. And then, remember, everyone actually burned the things onto Huhi at the start, and it's a 3-for-1. Team Dignitas could call it off, but they want the ace. At this point, Stixxay narrowly dodges the Scatter of the Weak from Keane. They then get another seismic shove, and Taliyah wants to fight over a very wide space. So the workaround isn't all consumed. You can get off the 5 Qs instead of the 1. As he kites back, he gets it back, picks up a double kill, turns that fight around.
From memory, if I recall correctly, we put up the damage numbers from that fight specifically following the fight, and Huhi put out 5K damage in that fight alone, and that was a fairly early fight in the game. He's working off of a Banshee's Veil and Merc Treads at that point.
Yeah, and that's the Taliyah build that we see a lot of. I saw Pobel do it last week, and I've seen Huhi do it this week. It's very good, because when you're having these spread out fights, the base damage on that kit is so high, the mana costs are low, and you can be a 140 magic resist mage. That's why he could frontline at the start of the fight and still live towards the end. But aside from his champion being strong, you have to know how to abuse it, and he did it in that fight.
Very much so. That was a close fight. This next one, not so much. Going in CLG's favor in the mid lane, 3-0. This was the big one that opened up the game for them.
Yeah, this fight was huge, and this was just CLG getting the right initiation. They get the Taric ult out early. That was a headbutt pulverized, but they have so many initiation threats they can re-engage. Now they still have Gragas Gnar, flash Gnar into the wall, no Taric ult to save them. Front line gone for Team Dignitas, and they just, CLG cleans them up.
And then there it is, that Tristana, very able and capable of chasing down both in fights, but then on the back end of fights, making sure they secure the objectives, right? Get that mid-inhib turret, get that mid-inhibitor. You've got map pressure. CLG knows what to do when ahead.
Yeah, lots of playmaking in this game from CLG. From the first blood to the second kill to the team fights, they were making big plays.
All right, you talk about playmaking. aphromoo, one of the big playmakers for the team on the Alistar this time around. I mean, I love to watch him on a pick where he can enable his team. I don't, get rid of the Jannas, get rid of all that. Let me see the Alistars, let me see the Threshes, the Morganas. Let me see him really shine and put other people on a pedestal in terms of gold leads.
Yeah, aphromoo is such a star from the support position. You have a lot of different champions in mind that he's shined on. To me, it's Alistar. Right? He's a great Bard, he's a great Morg, he's a great Thresh, but his Alistar is the one that really shines to me. So seeing that pick kind of come back into meta and then having him pull it out in this important game was just really cool.
Now, and for Dignitas here, they do suffer the 2-1 loss, but again, they put up a really dominant game 2 that they can be happy about. Again, relying on the fact that, hey, when we had a lead, we closed it out. Kobe mentioned neither of these teams really faltered when they had those advantages. Now it's just about creating those advantages more consistently against these top-tier teams because, hey, you've got to beat CLG, Immortals, TSM if you want the title.
Yeah, and they can gain so much confidence if they beat TSM on Sunday. On top of that, being able to actually win the best of 3 after losing game 2 bad with OmarGod as that jungler is a huge growing experience for the team. I mean, we were mentioning in the post-game 2, OmarGod looked a little sweaty. Everyone else was kind of fine.
Right.
We talked to Digon. He said it was warm in there. So
it was warm.
Maybe a little bit of that, but it's nerves. And the more they can get over that and the more comfortable they can get with OmarGod, the better their chances.
Exactly. Dealt with it here in game 3. So that leaves with 2 series wrapped up. So let's take another look at the standings. With their win today, Immortals do secure a playoff bye with CounterLogic Gaming remaining in 3rd, while Team Dignitas dropped to 5th, leaving Team NV locked into 6th. So those are the only 2 things officially decided. We've got a bye for Immortals and NV in 6th. So with this standings implications and the playoff, the growing playoff picture, what jumps out at you here? I mean, we still have surprisingly so much to be decided in just 2 more days of play.
Yeah, so a lot of it will still come down, I think, to the CLG TSM game because they may not switch with each other because I think TSM is going to pick up the win before that.
Okay.
But that'll decide whether Immortals is first. And I think whether CLG or Cloud9 is 3rd, and who gets the MV matchup. Because Cloud9 has a very easy schedule this week. I think they're going to take care of business. And CounterLogic Gaming is going to need to get to 13 wins. If they don't get to 13 wins and C9 goes 4-0, they'll get the game win percentage, I think. As long as the head-to-head is there somewhere. So there's a lot that can go down in here. And I think with Envy probably finishing at 8-10, that's going to be a much more generous quarterfinal matchup than whatever's in the 4-5.
What you needed to take away from that is there is a lot that can go down, and we'll keep you updated on all of the developing playoff picture throughout the weekend. We're not going to throw too many scenarios at you just now. We'll be back again tomorrow with another full day of action. Our coverage kicks off on NALCS 1 as TSM try to secure a playoff bye versus Phoenix 1, followed by Echo Fox trying to avoid the promotion tournaments as they face Immortals. Over on NALCS 2, the day starts with Hawkrow and Team Envy taking on Ssumday and Cloud9, with FlyQuest versus Team Liquid later in the day. But if you just can't wait for more League of Legends, in roughly 30 minutes, NALCS 1 will be hosting a rebroadcast of today's EULCS games before we close up shop. That's going to do it for us here, though, in the studio. So for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for more North American LCS. Good night.
Immortals have a chance to secure a playoff bye with a match win. For Team Envy, it's all about seeing how good they are to knock down these top teams. It's a chase on a Hakuho. A couple more shots to do it. The flag and drag the knock up in a 2. That was absolutely beautiful. But a giant Thunder to buys a lot of time because he wants it. Lands the Q ultis and he's gone. There's the chop coming through and Rek'Sai gets the kill in a pretty bad spot. There's the Dux. He's got no flash, no pathway out for the Thresh. And the kill comes through for Flame. Seraph next up, 2 for 0, no problem. And then it goes down. Lyra next up to go away, and the blobs are gone. Apollo forced to cut away. Only 2 members left now alive for Team Envy as Lyra's bloblets are gone. And they're going to go for the chase. The quadra kill for Popelter. Sadly, scumbag Codyson killed a bloblet to deny the penta. And Apollo flashes, buys a few more seconds, but the automatic's still going to be in range, gets the kill for Flame. Well, the charge means not very much, but Seraph
has ulti.
Transforming, he's got the Mega Gnar. Can he find what he wants? He's going to win with the Cataclysm out of Flame to buy a few more seconds. The knockup is in, and Flame with the sickest of outplays gets the kill. Flame wants in for the Cataclysm, going to take a big ulti though on the backside of it. Apollo is able to free fire, a trade of 1-for-1. Gnar for the Jarvan, but the chase continues on Alira. He's going to get knocked down. A double kill now for Codyson. 27-30. Immortals going to secure the playoff bye.
They're focusing on OmarGod immediately. Black Shield is there, but the damage follow-up is too much. Beautiful 3-man shockwave into a 3-man fates call from aphromoo. They get in. The Soul Shackles already goes down, and it is going to shred Team Dignitas. Ssumday gets locked up and put down. A muzzle on the dog as they keep going now. Shockwave after the fades call. They're switching it up here. CLG looking great. Gets himself a kill. Flashes, but he's stuck inside Cataclysm and can't get out. His shrimp can't drop it. And now the rest of the team is going for the kills. Stixxay gets himself jumped out, but Ssumday now into the fight. Very quickly jumped back. What a turn from Huhi.
Oh, another one.
Remember, Cosmic Radiance used in the last fight. aphromoo brings himself to the party. Counter Logic Gaming will not be caught by Team Dignitas.